If you are among the 80% of new mothers according to a recent survey that faces challenges when it comes to breastfeeding, then don't go anywhere because this video is for you. But before I start, I don't want you to give up because it's a gradual process. In this video, we're going to demonstrate breastfeeding and arm you with all the information and tips you need to give your baby the best start in life. So sit back, relax, and get ready to say goodbye to breastfeeding fears and hello to a successful breastfeeding journey. Breastfeeding is one of the most important decisions you can make for your baby. Not only is it a natural and convenient way to provide your baby with the necessary nutrients for growth and development, but it also offers numerous benefits for both the baby and you, the mother. For the baby, breast milk is the perfect food. Yes, it contains all the necessary vitamins, minerals, and antibodies that a baby needs to grow and develop. Breastfeeding also helps to protect the baby from various infections and illnesses. Studies have shown that breastfed babies have lower rates of asthma, allergies, and obesity, as well as a reduced risk of sudden infant death syndrome. For the mother, breastfeeding offers many benefits as well. It can help the mother bond with her baby and aid in the recovery process after childbirth. Additionally, breastfeeding has been linked to a decreased risk of breast and ovarian cancer, as well as a lower risk of osteoporosis in the long term. You may be wondering what osteoporosis is. It is a medical condition that causes the bone to become brittle and fragile. Moreover, breastfeeding is also environmentally friendly and cost-effective. In short, breastfeeding is not just a choice but a responsibility that comes with motherhood. It is not just beneficial for the baby but also the mother in terms of physical and emotional well-being. So make an informed choice, and if you decide to breastfeed, know that you have a support system to make it a successful journey. Basic anatomy and physiology of breastfeeding. Before we dive into the practical aspects of breastfeeding, it's important to understand the basic anatomy and physiology behind it. The breast is made up of mammary glands, which produce milk, and ducts, which transport the milk to the nipple. The milk is produced in the glands and then travels through the ducts to the nipple, where the baby can access it. The milk is produced in response to the hormone prolactin, which is released by the pituitary gland in the brain. Oxytocin, another hormone, is also released during breastfeeding, which causes the milk to be released from the glands and into the ducts. When your baby suckles at the breast, it triggers the release of more hormones, including oxytocin, which causes the milk to flow. The baby's suckling also stimulates the production of more milk, creating a self-regulating system. It's also important to note that the milk produced at the beginning of breastfeeding is called colostrum. It is a thick, yellowish fluid high in protein and antibodies, which helps protect the baby from infections. As the baby grows, the milk changes to become higher in fat and calories to meet the baby's needs. Now that you have a basic understanding of the anatomy and physiology of breastfeeding, you'll be better equipped to understand the practical aspects of breastfeeding and ensure a successful breastfeeding journey for you and your baby. How to get started with breastfeeding. Starting to breastfeed can be difficult for new parents, but it doesn't have to be. With the right information and support, you can make the transition to breastfeeding a smooth one. First and foremost, it's important to establish skin-to-skin contact with your baby immediately after birth. This not only helps to bond with your baby, but also helps to regulate their temperature and blood sugar levels. It also stimulates the release of hormones that help to initiate breastfeeding. When it comes to positioning and latching on, there are a few key things to keep in mind. First, make sure that your baby's nose is level with your nipple, and their chin is touching your breast. This will help them to open their mouth wide and latch on correctly. Additionally, make sure that your baby's lower lip is curled out, and their upper lip is covering more of the areola. This will help them to get a good latch and ensure that they are getting enough milk. One of the most common questions you may want to ask is, how do I know if my baby is getting enough milk? A good way to tell is by monitoring their wet and dirty diapers. In the first few days, your baby should have at least one wet diaper for every day of life, and their stools should be yellow and seedy. As they get older, they should have at least 6 wet diapers and at least 3 bowel movements per day. Additionally, you can check the baby's weight. They should not lose more than 7% of their birth weight in the first few days. Despite all the preparation, breastfeeding can be challenging in the first few days and weeks. Common challenges include sore nipples, engorgement, and difficulty latching on. But don't worry, these challenges can be overcome with the right information and support. Sore nipples can be treated with lanolin cream, and engorgement can be relieved by nursing frequently or using a breast pump. Additionally, latching difficulties can often be resolved by adjusting the baby's position or working with a lactation consultant. With this information and the support of a breastfeeding-friendly community, you'll be able to overcome any obstacles that come your way and ensure a successful breastfeeding journey for you and your baby. Tips for successful breastfeeding. Breastfeeding can be a beautiful and rewarding experience for both you and your baby, but it can also be challenging, especially in the early days. That's why it's important to have a good breastfeeding support system in place to help you navigate any obstacles that may arise. First and foremost, have a good support system of people who understand and support your decision to breastfeed. This could be your partner, family, or a breastfeeding support group. Having a network of people who can offer encouragement and advice can make a huge difference in your breastfeeding journey. Another key to successful breastfeeding is maintaining your milk supply. How can you do that? One way to do this is by breastfeeding or pumping frequently, ideally every 2 to 3 hours during the day and every 4 hours at night. Engorgement can also be a problem, but you can prevent it by breastfeeding or pumping frequently, avoiding tight clothing, and using a warm compress before breastfeeding. If you plan on breastfeeding in public, it's important to have a comfortable and discreet way to do so. Nursing covers, nursing tanks, and nursing scarves are all great options. Additionally, it's a good idea to find breastfeeding-friendly locations such as lactation rooms or designated breastfeeding areas. Finally, returning to work or school while breastfeeding can be challenging, but it's possible. One way to make it easier is by having a good pump and a private place to pump during the day. It's also important to communicate with your employer or school about your breastfeeding needs and work out a schedule that works for everyone. In summary, with a good breastfeeding support system, maintaining milk supply, breastfeeding in public, and handling breastfeeding while returning to work or school, you can make your breastfeeding journey a successful and fulfilling experience for both you and your baby. Remember, you're not alone in this. Our channel Pregnancy and Beyond is always here for you. Keep watching our videos for more tips and information. We hope you found this video, Breastfeeding 101, a beginner's guide for new parents, informative and helpful in your breastfeeding journey. We've covered everything from the basic anatomy and physiology of breastfeeding, to how to get started, to tips for success. Remember, breastfeeding is not only beneficial for your baby but also for you as a mother, in terms of physical and emotional well-being. In conclusion, breastfeeding can be a challenging and overwhelming task for new parents, but with the right information and support, it can also be a beautiful and rewarding experience. It is important to establish a good breastfeeding support system, maintain milk supply and prevent engorgement, breastfeed in public, and handle breastfeeding while returning to work or school. Remember, if you encounter any difficulties, don't hesitate to seek out help from lactation consultants, breastfeeding support groups, or your healthcare provider. Thank you for watching, and we wish you all the best in your breastfeeding journey. Don't forget to like and share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more informative videos.